Fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. What an exciting week it's been. I mean, we reached 49,000 subscribers on the main channel. Isn't that fantastic? And there's some other news I want to share with you. And that is that this week I should have a new studio. So you're going to see a totally new look in the backdrop. And I'm sure you're going to like it. I love it. And it's like a Father's Day present. Now, when we hit 50,000, which could happen this month, hopefully, September I'm talking about, when we hit 50,000, there are going to be several people, 20 people who are going to be getting the special little 50K graphic, which will be just a thank you to them for all their input when it comes to, providing me links and information and stuff like that. I really value that information. It's really, really good stuff. And other excellent news is that for our feed distribution in mid-September, we now have more artwork being prepared. And this is a top artist in Sydney who's going to be painting the big five. You know, the big theme behind me here, the big five. She's doing some amazing work for us there. So that's all going to be happening, and they're going to be auctioned at that particular event. Now, I've got some very, very interesting discussions happening this evening. I know you're going to love it. We're going to start off by talking to Willie Jordaan, who heads up Project Survival in South Africa, or Project Survivor in South Africa. And after we've had a chat about that, I'm going to be getting Leslie, who's a truckie, to come and join us, and he'll be talking about the situation in South Africa at the moment with trucking. He's put his ear to the ground this weekend, and he's got some interesting comments to make. And I've got some news that I'll be breaking about the trucking industry in South Africa during that particular discussion. And after we've spoken to Leslie, I've got Anthony joining me a bit later, also going to be speaking to Willie, Jordaan. Anthony is offering to help South Africans moving to Australia. And he's a lovely guy. He's an old fart like me, but lovely guy. And I know Willie and Anthony have been wanting to make contact. So, here we go. Let me get hold of Willie, and we'll get the show on the road, guys. Here we go. Hi, everybody in the side chat. Good to have you here. Good to see my moderators here. Hi, Willie. How are you?
Hello, Scott.
Good to see you.
I'm fine yourself, sir.
Excellent.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us this evening.
It's a pleasure. It's really a pleasure, Scott. Thank you.
Great. Now, first of all, tell me a bit about yourself, Willie, just so that my subscribers know a bit about your background, who you are, etc., etc.
Okay. My name is Willie Jordaan, and I'm an attorney in Potchefstroom. And I've been an attorney for, I think it's 20 years already. And I've got my own practice.
Right.
Yeah, and that's it.
Okay. And you've got a project called Project Survivor, South Africa, haven't you?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Would you like to tell us about that project and what its aims are, its goals are, etc.?
Yes, thank you, Scott. Project Survivor, the purpose of Project Survivor is to gather videos of farm attack and residential attack victims in South Africa. They make the videos themselves, and then they upload it to a site of Project Survivor. It's
Right.
a site in the United States,
Yeah.
run by Mrs. Tammy Cooling,
Yeah, I know Tammy.
and yeah, you know Tammy.
Yeah.
She does a fantastic job without funding. She does it out of her own pocket, and
Fantastic.
she really goes to this for us in South Africa. I promise you.
Yeah. You know, it's fantastic when we have got people around the world fighting the good fight for South Africans.
Correct, sir. Correct. Let me tell you about the first program. The first episode was aired, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the 8th of August.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the 8th of August. But first, before we continue, I want to give you some figures on how many people actually watched episode 1. Now, in episode 1, there was 2 survivors.
What?
One is Mariandra.
Oh yes, I remember Mariana. Yeah, that was terrible what happened to her.
Yes, definitely. And then the second person was Bram Blighnout. Now, Bram Blighnout is currently in hospital in Rustenburg.
Right.
He lost both his legs. It was amputated just below his hips.
Oh,
So from
yeah.
the hip bone down. And it all began, he was shot in the back.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure whether what happened, but he's got some sort of virus. It's not going too well. There was I'm sorry, I'm sidetracking now. I just want to say this. I received a call from Bram's family saying that the provincial hospital, now that's a state hospital in Rustenburg,
Right.
didn't give him all the morphine. He was supposed to get morphine every hour or every 2 hours, I'm not sure exactly, but 5 shots per day. And he only received 1 shot per day, even though the other 4 were in actual fact booked out as if it was given to him. But that stopped now. Currently he is receiving his morphine, etc., etc. Now, okay, just to get back, Bram Blighnout and Mariandra Jennis was featured in our first episode.
Yeah.
Now, on the 31st of August 2019, that's yesterday, Tammy Cooling gave me some figures on how many people actually watched episode 1. Now, episode 1 is featured on or shown on the Roku channel, and
Right.
it's a WMPE is the channel's name.
Yeah.
Now, in total, and listen to this, and I know everybody in South Africa is really wants this information. 2.8 million people.
Wow, that's amazing.
2.8 million people, and I've got a breakdown of it as well. In the United States, 1.7 million people watch that show.
Fantastic.
In Canada, 385,000 people watched the show. And then in Australia, 426,000 people watched it on Roku. The balance is between India, Africa, and the United Kingdom. And this figure is excluding views on social media.
Fantastic.
That's on the Roku channel, on the TV channel in the United, that's broadcasted from the United States by Tammy.
Yeah.
That's the WMP channel. The second episode, Tammy phoned me earlier today. She's working on it. It most probably will air on the Roku channel maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, but definitely early next week.
Right. Oh, that's amazing news. You know, it's so good that the message is getting out there.
Definitely, Scott. And I want to just, Mariandra Yenes and myself is co-hosts of that program of, that Tammy is producing and,
right.
and combining, etc. Can I tell you the purpose of everything? There's a lot of
Please
people, and the purpose of it is there's an act that Donald Trump signed into law on 14 January this year. The act is called, and I'm not sure exactly about the pronunciation, but it's Ellie Weasel, Genocide and Atrocities Prevention Act.
Yeah.
Now, according to that act, I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes, I've heard about it, yeah.
Scott?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
According to that act, there is a duty placed on, I think you call it Congress in the United States, to act wherever there's a genocide, or, and it goes even further than that, where there is as soon as we can get the American people, informed of what's going on in South Africa and informed about the act that they've got, because that's a golden ticket for survival in South Africa at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They will put pressure on the Trump administration to have a look at that act, and I'm sure he already knows what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak to you about a little bit. I'm just going to touch on some protest actions that we are going to have. The first one is 14 September, and then there's a big one on 10 October, and that's going to be pro-Trump rally on the 10th of October. But I'll get back to that in a minute. I just want to tell the people in the United States, I want to give them a message, the following message.
Go ahead.
Never in the world's history has a country, or anybody for that matter, ever prevented a genocide from happening. They've never done it before.
Yeah. It's
always after the genocide is complete that people suddenly realize there was a genocide.
Yeah. Well, look at
nobody tried to.
Look at the Armenian people. Just over 100 years ago, they were totally wiped out near Turkey, and no one did a thing about it at the time. Sorry, carry on.
So to the American people, I want to give this message. You can make history. You can make history by actually becoming the first country in the world ever to prevent a genocide from happening. You've got the act. All you need now is the information, and we are giving it to you.
Yeah, well,
and
carry on.
There are people in South Africa who also are of the opinion, Trump has got more important things to do, which is true, might be, but he can make history, he can make a big name for himself to become the first American president, or first president ever, to prevent this from continuing. We're already there.
Yeah. Now, do you think...
any questions?
Do you think...
babbling on, but...
No, yeah, that's fine, because it's important we understand exactly what Project Survivor South Africa is all about. Now, do you think that the minority groups, and I'm including the coloured and the Indian people, obviously, do you think they're all facing a genocide in South Africa? Or do you think it's just extreme persecution by a rogue government like the ANC?
No. Well, you refer to them as colored. I know they prefer to be referred to as brown people.
Right.
The brown people and the Indian people has got troubles also, definitely.
Yeah.
The brown people, if you look at the Cape Flat, it's a call for help. What's going on there is terrible. We are working on that. We've started a new civic organization by the name of Patriot for Minority Rights in South Africa.
Right.
With Wessel Basson and Marius Kurzer. And there's a lot of other people on board as well already. The main purpose of that will be exactly the question, to answer the question that you've just asked now. The brown people has got a problem, the Indian people has got a problem, and obviously the white people in South Africa has got a very big problem.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now tell us a bit more about that project you just talked about, you know.
Okay, the Patriot for Minority Rights, I will maybe do a show a little bit later, maybe in a week or two, because we've gotten what do you call it? Sorry, I forgot. We've got a meeting set up during next week.
Right. And
after that meeting, I'll have all the information for you, Scott. And I think it's important that people realize that there is something happening. There's something happening.
Fantastic. Now, getting back to your protest on the 14th of September, we've actually got food delivery on the 16th of September. So we got, you know, it's very, very closely aligned, and we're going to be covering that live. It's happening at Uppington, and we're going to be taking tons of food to. It's weird, but we're actually going to be taking it to farmers who are living in poverty because they've been forced off their farms because of the drought. And that's our main target that we're reaching out to. And we're going to have Droog to help joining us, and we're going to have Marius Roos joining us. He's got those young fellows that he's training up. So there's a whole lot of people who are going to be part of this event. Now, getting back to your event on the 14th September, how can we help you promote that? And tell us a bit more about that.
Okay, the one on 14th September is actually a vigil for the victims in South Africa, etc., etc. And that's arranged by USAC, and then Break the Silence About South Africa, and also Project Survivor.
Right.
And in Canada itself, wonderful ladies who does a really great job of helping the people in South Africa. The first lady's name is Miss Maureen Johnston. Mm-hmm. She also helped a lot of people, you know, leave South Africa, etc., etc.
Right.
And then there's another lady who's she's also an ex-South African, Natalie Quinn.
Right.
But she's a Canadian citizen at the moment. Now, the vigil on 14 September is going to be in Ottawa at the United States Embassy, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that like
from
the last
10 o'clock up until...
You had one earlier this year, didn't you?
That's correct. They also helped us to do one earlier this year. So this one will be basically a prayer meeting for South Africa. Mm-hmm. And then on the 10th of October, and this is going to be a big one, it's going to be arranged by Mr. Mark Dixon of Canada,
right,
Maureen Johnston, and Natalie Quinn. Mm-hmm. Now that's going to be at the US Embassy in Canada on the 10th of October, 9 a.m. up until 12 p.m.
Right.
In South Africa, same time on your watch between 9 and 12, on the 10th of October, we're going to be at the US Embassy in Pretoria in big numbers. Mm. And also USAC is headed by Mr. Craig Montgomery. Mm-hmm. He personally sent 10,000 Rand to one of his followers in South Africa. It wasn't to me. It was to one of his people for making banners, etc., etc.
Right.
And they're going to take Project Survivor and USAC and do this countrywide as well. Yeah. So people that's living too far from Potchefstroom will have a chance to go to, I know, Bloemfontein, Mossel Bay, I think Alice Ras, Tabazimbi, maybe Lichtenburg or Wolmeranstad. I'm speaking under correction now.
Right.
The people must just follow the Facebook pages and also Project Survivors page, and they will follow it. And this march was actually arranged by Wessel Basson of the Patriot for Minority Rights in South Africa.
Right.
It's not going to be a political march, except for the fact that it's going to be a pro-Trump rally.
Right.
We are going to thank President Trump for who he is and what he's done to the world. And we're also going to ask him not to forget about South Africa. And we're also going to ask him to remember the Elie Wiesel Genocide and Atrocities Prevention Act.
Yeah.
That day, the American flag will be hoisted in, or not hoisted, but flown in South Africa and in Canada. And I'm still hoping for somebody in Australia to come on board with this. We want Australia also there, the same day, same time. I've spoken to Avi Yameni. He told me that he will definitely promote this, but he's unfortunately now a journalist, I understand, so he cannot arrange protests anymore. But I'm still looking for somebody in Australia to take our hands and to do the same thing. Pro-Trump rally, that day, please don't forget about South Africa, President Trump.
Okay, now what I'm going to do, this is to the over 300 people watching us right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my email address in the side chat here, as I normally do. And if someone's in Australia who can help with that particular issue, please just send me an email and I will forward it directly on to Willie. Okay, Willie, is there anything else you want to add about your projects you're involved in?
Yeah, I think people want to know how they can follow, because, if the episodes is loaded onto Roku, it takes a few days for it, so we can upload it to a YouTube channel for South African people to watch, because we don't have Roku. The company who imported it went bankrupt, so we cannot get Roku in South Africa. But there's a few. I'm just going to mention 3 ways how people can get involved, if you can afford me that.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. First one is they can go and have a look and search for WMP-TV network on YouTube.
Right.
So that's WMP-TV network on YouTube. WMP-TV stands for Words Matter Publishing. That is Tammy Cooling in America's business.
Right.
The other way is a TV channel also just released now. It's also WMPTV.net.
Right.
And the last way is maybe the easiest way, that's Facebook. And they can just search on Facebook for Project Survivor South Africa.
Okay. Now, I have a suggestion, and it's up to you guys whether you would like it to happen or not. I could also put those episodes up on my channel if you gave me the authority to.
I will give you authority, so you've got it.
Fantastic. Well,
it will be very nice.
Okay, well, I will certainly get that out there. Now, before we move on to the trucking side of things, because that's something we're going to be talking about now, are there any questions people would like to ask Willie about the projects? And we'll just keep talking a bit, because they'll post the questions. They take a little while to come through. Okay. So
I don't have a fee for questions, Craig. Thanks, Scott. I cannot see you I just see a picture of you, so I cannot see any questions. But I just want to get back to something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quickly. I know Tammy is also watching this now. And really, I want to reiterate this. Tammy, you're doing a fantastic job, ma'am, and thank you very much. Really, I appreciate what you are doing. Without you, this will not be possible. And Scott, there's just one final thing I want to say. All these videos that survive in, Tammy said that she will personally hand the video footage on USB sticks later on this year to, I think this figure is 71 of the senators that she personally contacted already. So she's really going above and beyond.
Fantastic.
And all we ask is the people of South Africa, please, if you've got a story to tell, send it in. Send it in, please.
Okay, now, high five to Tammy. I hear you listening, and I know Tammy, and I obviously know Craig Montgomery as well. We've chatted on Skype in the past. Now, let's just see if there are any questions. Are there any questions anybody wants to ask about Project Survivors South Africa? Well, what we'll do is we'll actually, as these events approach, we'll put out videos promoting them so that people know what's happening. Okay, so you've got our total support on that. Now,
thank you, Scott. Thank you.
If the moderators can just cut and paste, cut or copy questions, and I think at the end of the show we'll actually put those questions to Willie, because I'd like to move on now to this issue with the trucking industry. And before I call Leslie, in fact, I might get Leslie on now, because I've got some information here I want to share with you both, and I know you know a lot about what's happening in the trucking industry, and Leslie is actually a truckie, so it'll be good to have him on board. Let me just get him down. Here we go. Okay, add. Hi, Leslie, are you here?
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Hi, Leslie. How are you? I can't see your camera. Oh, there you go. Now you're coming on. There we go.
Yeah.
Now, Leslie, meet Willie.
I believe.
Leslie Walsh.
Hello, Leslie.
Meet Willie.
I was listening to you now.
Now, as I said, Leslie is in the trucking industry, and you sent out an audio alert a couple of days ago about what's happening on Monday, Willie, and I've heard that audio alert about. We'll get to that in a second. I just want to read out what I've received today by email, which are unsubstantiated. I've got to say that, but the people who send them to me are normally right on the money. Apparently, this all happened today. Okay, ATDF uses cars to pull off trucks and keys. My one truck is now taken in Middelburg. And then another one saying, truck burns in Escort. Hello, sweetheart. Your daughter. And protest action. Yeah, go ahead.
He's got a message for somebody. She asked me to please come on. Sorry about.
No, go ahead.
So Tammy.
Wat het ek nou?
Sammy, thank you. Say what you will say.
Thank you, Tammy, for showing the world.
What's going on in South Africa? What's going on in South Africa?
What is going on in South Africa?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Did you hear that?
That's so sweet.
You're so cute, a little girl.
Oh, wow. So lovely. Okay, so getting back to the alerts that I've received. Protest action on N2, and then Constable Mzimandi confirmed that there was a truck that was burning using a petrol bomb on the N2. The incident took place at Thavikvi, which is on the N2 in the Tsingolweni area. Protesters are still active along the N2 and traffic is extremely backed up. There's another one here, avoid the N12 between Johannesburg and Witbank due to protest action. Keys of trucks taken, please use alternative routes. And then it says several trucks blocked on the N12 and R42, Ochie's Gate, next to the Black Hill area. And these are just some of the reports that are coming through from today, that's Sunday. And what I received before this action happened is the following media release from Doreen, who runs SA Trucks Long Haul on Facebook. And we actually had her on with Leslie just a short while ago on a live stream. And the joint media release from Transport and Logistics Industries reads as follows. Instructions to halt all strike action on the 1st and 2nd of September. Following reports that have been received regarding widespread national strike action in the road freight and other industries and possible threats of violence, we hereby issue the following media statement. This statement was agreed to by all parties following an urgent meeting with the Technical Road Freight Industry Task Team, held at the office of the South African Police Service at 282 Stalwart, Simelane Street, Durban. This meeting was chaired by the Office of the Premier and attended by representatives of the Department of Labour, the Road Freight Bargaining Council, the National Truck Drivers Association, or NTDF, All Truck Drivers Foundation, or ATDF, Positive Freight Solutions, or PFS, and Harbour Crimes, as well as the South African Police Service and National Prosecuting Authority. And it says that all parties have agreed to the following in terms of the way going forward. 1. The employee organisation, i.e. the ATDP and NTDF, distance themselves and do not support threats circulating to encourage a national shutdown and strike action on the 1st and 2nd of September 2019. 2. The NTDF and ATDF agree that any individual found to be perpetrating any unlawful activity will immediately be arrested and prosecuted for their crime with a zero-tolerance approach. This follows the statement made by the Honourable Minister of Police when he stated that such contact destabilizes the country and amounts to economic sabotage. 3. Operations will therefore continue as business as usual on the 1st and 2nd of September 2019. 4. In respect of compliance, employer organizations, i.e. PSF and harbour carriers, agreed that its members will, and this is a very, very interesting or concerning thing that they've agreed to. Okay, I'll just read that again. In respect of compliance, employer organizations like PSF and harbour carriers agreed that its workers will terminate all illegal foreign nationals in accordance with prevailing labour laws. 5. The Road Freight Association, although not in attendance, also support the above. 6. All parties are committed to resolving the issues and working together with the concept of Proudly South Africa in mind. And then finally, the next task team meeting is scheduled to take place on the 6th of September 2019. Now, I'd like to just pose a question to you first, Leslie. Point 4, they talk about terminating the services of all foreign drivers. What do you know about that?
Well, look, I don't know much about it. All I know is a lot of companies employ Zimbabwean drivers and Nigerian drivers, and a lot of drivers in the black community, black drivers are unhappy about it. So I really don't know much about it, but I know a lot of people are unhappy about it because they say they're taking away the work of the South African people.
Right. And okay, Willie, over to you. What do you have to say about that?
Scott, I don't think the problem is illegal drivers or illegal people from other countries. It's not about that. It's foreigners. Foreigners. If they stop a truck and they ask somebody, are you foreign or national? It's not going to make a difference whether that person is an illegal immigrant or foreign national or whether he's legal in the country. Yeah. I don't think and I don't think even there's so many illegal people driving trucks. I don't think so. I don't. And, this whole thing is not about being an illegal driver or not. It's not about that. It's about foreigners.
Okay, now, what do you think is going to happen on Monday? Do you think this is going to continue, the hold up of trucks and so on?
Well, I've prepped. I've bought some fuel today. I've bought some diesel today and food and etc. etc. It cost me a whole lot of money, and I think it will be money well spent. So I think that will give you the answer. I am not happy with or satisfied with the media statement that was issued by government. And let me tell you this, it's the first time that I can remember, I might be wrong, that our government has proactively gotten involved in something like this. It's always, in hindsight, but never proactively. Now, this media statement actually means nothing, according to me, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
This strike was never arranged by unions, the truckers' unions, etc., etc. It was never an official strike. Sorry, it was a strike and I think it's drivers who lost their job because there's other people who can do a better job than them.
Yeah.
And now they're sitting at home, they're hungry, and they know that people are driving their trucks. That's what it's about. No media statement of government. Yes.
Okay, now over to you, Leslie. Are you going to be driving your
Willie,
truck tomorrow?
No, and we're not driving tomorrow, and a lot of my friends, that's drivers, is not driving tomorrow, and we will see by Tuesday what's happening on the roads, because I know the roads very well, and I've went through a lot of things already on the roads. It's dangerous, and you can't put your life, you can't put your life on this thing. And it's true what Willie is saying. It's because a lot of drivers is losing their jobs, and now they're complaining. But as I can also add on something, Willie and Scott, I've heard and I've saw with my own eyes South African drivers, people, they get their truck driver's licenses, but they can't even start, or they don't even know how to flip and start a truck, but they got the Code 14 license.
Wow.
That is also a big concern and a big problem in South Africa. And I know this because I saw it with my own eyes. Willie, I don't know if you agree with me.
I'm sorry? Yeah, I agree with you.
Yes, I've noticed and I've seen it with my own eyes. They can't even start a truck. I know of a lady that was pulled off in Pretoria. She was driving the car, and as the traffic cop stopped her, she's got a Code 14 license with a PDP, and she's 24 years old. And the traffic cop was clever. He stopped the truck and asked the driver to switch the truck off and asked her to start the truck. She couldn't even start the truck.
Wow. Yeah, look, it's a complete shambles. Willie, over to you.
Yeah, Scott, I just want to, there's something else. There's a little tail to this thing as well. The truck drivers are unhappy. They stop the trucks. The other people in the community know it's a freebie. They can collect whatever is in the truck and they can loot the truck before it is set alight. So this is a very, very huge problem. It's a catastrophe in the waiting. What's going to happen next week, I might be wrong, but I think it's going to become very serious. There's trucks, Piet Retief, the town Piet Retief, according to reports that I received, the town is basically closed. No trucks in or out. The trucks that went into Piet Retief was taken to a yard and their keys were taken.
That's what they're talking about here. Yeah.
Yes. This all over, but tomorrow, and they even said tonight at 9 o'clock, the big thing is going to start.
So that's in about 20 minutes.
Yes, I know that.
Have you heard that too, Leslie?
Yes. And it's also started already about 7 o'clock tonight in Humansdorp. By the N2, there's already started that day.
Now, getting back to you, Willie, what's the impact of trucks off the road? I mean, to people who work in the cities, people who perhaps staying at home, or they're watching this right now. What is the impact to South Africans if the trucks can't get through?
Okay, if trucks can't get through, first of all, I think the petrol pumps or gas stations, as you, I think, call it, will run dry. There won't be diesel or petrol for sale. And I think shops will take about 3 days before they run out of food. like your big Checkers and Pick and Pay and stuff like that. So you won't be able to even buy a chocolate. But the very, very big main concern is the following. Eskom and the power stations, according to what I know, does not have a coal reserve. They do not have a coal reserve. I think they've got coal for about 3 days. After 3 days, there's nada. Without coal, there's no power. And if that happens, then we're in very, very, very big problems. Very, very big trouble. And that's a possibility.
Yeah. Now, do you think that the problems we have now on the roads is because of the poor policing standards that we have in South Africa?
Just ask again. Just clarify for me.
Okay. What I said was, do you think that the problems we're having on the roads are because of the abysmal policing standards in South Africa?
Look, I don't know if you followed Pretoria. I think it was last week, if I'm not mistaken. The police's hands are, being tied. And it all came from Lonman. You know the Lonman thing where a couple of people were shot by police. Now, according to what I understand, the police received instructions, no live ammunition. And that's the first problem. The second problem is there's also reports about the police not having even live ammunition anymore.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's now, the looters in South Africa are basically given a free rope to do whatever they like. In all protests, or most of them, in Potchefstroom, and I can speak about this personally because I witnessed it. There was a protest in 12 a couple of weeks ago. They hijacked a back actor from a truck. They stopped the truck, they offloaded the back actor, and they started to rip the tar road to pieces with that back actor.
I saw that.
You know what the police would do?
What?
They were standing enjoying the show.
Oh.
That's what they did. And I put a post on WhatsApp on one of the groups in Potchefstroom, the community policing forum groups that I was on. I was removed immediately after that. But I told them that the policemen on the scene run the risk of being personally sued for damages. Because the laws in South Africa, and many people does not know this, it is possible that you can, first of all, issue summons against the Minister of Police, and also the police members there that was standing there idly by, because they've got a duty of care towards the citizens of South Africa to protect them.
Yeah.
And if they do not do it, they are basically causing this whole problem that we've got in South Africa. Because protesters know that the police will idly stand by or shoot them with a rubber bullet. I mean, I've been shot with a rubber bullet. It's not that serious. But they will live to tell the tale, and tomorrow they will do the same thing. The Minister of Police needs to urgently look at this. Take another. They must tackle this problem in another fashion. The way that they are doing it now is not working.
So, what is the solution, do you think?
Sorry, say again, Scott. You broke up.
What is the solution?
Gloves off. Gloves off, Scott. Gloves off. We cannot proceed in a boxing match with little soft gloves.
Yeah.
They must take the gloves off. That's the only way. And when private citizens defend themselves, it's always being arrested, or not always, but there's always talk of arrest, maybe a court appearance or two before the court case is withdrawn or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not fair. It's not fair. If you're a criminal, you must take what's coming towards you because you made that decision. You are willing to kill and torture people, okay, to do what you do. And don't come crying later if you get hurt in that process. That's what I say.
Yeah. What do you think?
I'm not saying...
Yeah.
What do you think, Leslie?
Stay within the law.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Willie. I know you're a lawyer. You must be careful because you see what happened with the other lawyer on Twitter. The criminals today has got more rights than what me and you has got.
Yeah.
The law protects the criminals today in South Africa.
Yeah. Now, just...
I mean,
carry on, Lizzie.
For example, Grabo, there was an old man with his auntie that was staying there. They were at, like a garage. They were making samosas to sell to the public. And they had the grandchildren there. And the old man has got one arm. And he heard his wife screaming inside the house with the grandchild. And as he was running in his house, the first thing that went in his mind when he saw these criminals in his house, he grabbed his gun and he shoot them. What happened? He got arrested. But luckily, 2 lawyers from Somerset West helped the old man and he's free today.
Wow. That's absolutely shocking. Sorry guys, I just want to get rid of that. There we go. Yeah, so, look, I hear so many reports of that sort of thing happening. Willie, getting back to your point about after 3 days, there's going to be no food on the shelves, and cheers, mate. What do you think is going to happen in South Africa if the shelves are bare in the shops? I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
I think deaths of that magnitude that I think will make Rwanda look like a picnic. And why I say that, we've got, the official figure I think is 50 million or 60 million people in South Africa, but I think with all the immigrants, it's more than 70 million. That's what I've heard. It's going to be a shock. It's going to be a big problem. Yeah, and let's step up. I mean, they must step up to this. I mean, it's expected of them,
Yeah. So, the problem is that the roads are so isolated, and these gangs can just put stones and rocks out on the roads and burn tires, and you've got no choice. You've got to stop.
Yeah, very, very dangerous.
My wife just gave me a note, Scott. I just want to correct something. She said it came over. It could come over wrong.
Right.
When I said gloves off, I didn't the people of South Africa. I refer to the police when I say gloves off. I refer to the police when I say that.
Yeah. So you're not talking about the citizens. You're talking about the police force.
No, I'm talking about the police force. And also what I'm saying is people should not be afraid to defend themselves. I had a phone call from a trucker the other day, and he asked me this very interesting question. He said, what should he do when he drives into a bunch of protesters? When he gets to that point, there's people throwing rocks. What should he do? Should he put foot and just drive through it? Should he stop? What should he do? Because if he drives on, he will most likely kill people.
Yeah. And
that's a very good question. I told him, and there's not an easy answer. Our law states that your life must be, your life, not your possessions, your life must be in grave danger. If it's not in grave danger, you will most probably stand in court on a murder charge or murder charges. Our law also states that if there's any other way, to protect yourself without the need of shooting or maybe wounding or hurting somebody else. You must take that route. That's the first route that you should take. And I told this guy, I said, well, the first thing is, if you drive along and you see there's a bunch of people in the road, stop immediately. Don't drive there. Don't stop with, where they are. If you see smoke on the horizon, stop. If you drive and there's no oncoming traffic anymore, stop. Turn around or leave the truck and get into somebody's car and just leave. But if you are in that situation, basically ambushed, let's say you're ambushed at a stop street, a four-way stop in the middle of nowhere, what do? That decision is up to the trucker. And they can use this advice that I've just given them. If they feel their life is threatened and they feel that their wife and kids will go old without him, if he does not put foot and drive through this whole setup, he must do it because that's his only choice that he's got. If he can turn around, obviously he should do that also.
Right. Now, we've got about 500 people watching us at the moment, and there are a lot of new people who've come on. Willie, do you want to just repeat what you told us earlier about if the trucks can't get through to a city like Johannesburg, and this could be a city like Durban, it could be a city like Pretoria, what will the impact be just going down the time frames? I think a lot of people have missed that.
Okay, well, look, the people who prepped, the people who bought food and a little bit of fuel, etc., will survive longer than the others. I think that's the sad truth. You're only buying time. If there's no food and there's no trucks, there's no petrol and there's no electricity, there's people in the city who's going to be without water. Because if there's no electricity, the reservoirs can't be pumped full, etc., etc. So this is going to be a big problem. I think people will run to the borders in masses. I think that's what's going to happen if this, thing about the food, etc., and the power happens. I think people will leave their stuff, their vehicles, that prep fuel, and they will drive off to the borders. There was one country, I'm not sure, but I read about one of the survivors, what happened there, and in that city, they surrounded the city, basically, they cut off all the food supply, etc., etc., and neighbors were killing each other.
Wow.
A week or a month or 2 weeks ago, you had a braai with your neighbor.
Yeah.
But if this type of thing, and if he's hungry, he will kill you for your food.
Yeah.
But that's extreme. But it's a possibility. If this thing happens with the trucks, it's a problem. Yeah. And I hope everybody's got their passports.
Well, I hope everybody's got a plan B. And I actually spoke to Simon Roche just a week ago about Saitlanders, and they've got a plan B, and I'm sure they're watching the situation very closely. Now, what do you think the likelihood is, and I'm talking to you here, Leslie, what do you think the likelihood is of you being off the road for an extended period of time?
I think what I've heard, it might clear up by Thursday. I mean, that's 3 days without work that we must sit at home.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Leslie is a truck driver.
And if you don't work, you don't get paid.
Yeah. So it's going to impact on the economy in a huge way.
Yeah. And I mean, Willie, I just want to ask Willie a question.
Go ahead.
I told Scott about this already. At Gabou, you know Gabou?
Yeah.
What's Cape Town is Gabou. There's a little bridge there. They flew my truck there with stones. The windscreen was broken, and the cab roof was damaged. And about a kilometer after that, I didn't stop. I just drove on. About a kilometer, there was traffic cops and police standing there. I stopped by them and told them and showed them the truck. They did nothing. They did nothing, absolutely nothing. They was just laughing about it. Um, but I had to drive like that from Cape Town to Port Elizabeth, 800 kilos with a broken windscreen. I could hardly see.
Wow.
So what can you do as a driver?
Yeah, Scott, if I just want to say something. I know government officials is also watching and tuned in. I'm sure about that, and intelligence in South Africa also.
Yeah.
I want to ask them. I want to ask them. Please give attention to this very serious problem. This can destroy South Africa within a few weeks. You need to step up, people. You need to step up. If you're a policeman, you need to do your job. And if you're a commander, take their gloves off. Take their gloves off so that they can act. This is a possible national crisis that we will never, ever get out of. I must stop this immediately. These trucks in Piet Retief that's being held hostage, the police should have been there already. And if the police can't handle it, they must send in the military. Let's see if they can handle it. But they must do something immediately.
Yeah, well, for someone who actually lives outside the country, and I guess I'm fortunate in that aspect, what I see happening is that the protesters seem to have free rein now. They can do what they like, and they can just go and cause chaos. They can go and loot shops. They can go and burn things down, and no one is ever arrested. I mean, I see this in all these reports, and that the most terrible things happen, and the comment is made in the article, no arrests were made. So they all get off scot-free. Do you think that's a big issue because they know they're getting off scot-free, Willie?
That's precisely my point, Scott. That's precisely my point. They get off scot-free. If, in Pretoria, or actually in Johannesburg, I think it was, they chased the police out of there. They were in the trucks, hiding blood, but they just ran off. And, I'm not picking on the police officers. There's police officers that really want to do their job.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, commanders tie their hands like this. They can only do so much.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, government of South Africa, take their gloves off. Loosen their hands. Let them do their work. That's what we in South Africa expect the police to do, is to act.
I totally agree.
That's why we in Texas.
Yeah, if they don't do that, there's going to be anarchy in South Africa. I mean, that's just a no-brainer, isn't it?
Definitely. And, the community, and even myself, I mean, I support the police, but I don't support people who stand idly by. I mean, that's wrong. But the community, and it's not just white, I mean, it's brown, black people even, they expect the police to act. I mean, there's black people that's too afraid. There's also a WhatsApp doing the rounds now. People calling for a strike action, not just about the trucking industry. They won't be able to go to work. If they do, the threat is made that their houses will be burned down.
Yeah.
Now, those people also, they need protection. There's a lot of black people that's fed up with this nonsense in South Africa.
Yeah.
But they feel that they're not protected. They go, and I've got clients that went to the police station to lay a charge of, even rape, even serious stuff. And it's shrugged off. Go and sit there. I'll be with you whenever I get a chance. That's the type of thing. And that's wrong. The police are there to serve and protect. And they must do that. And if the police officers feel that their commanders is wrong, with his or her instruction to them not to do anything. They must protest about that.
Yeah.
They must start protesting.
I had put up a video today, which is of a police station in South Africa, which was totally unmanned, and all the doors were unlocked, and this guy was able to walk through the entire police station. All the criminal dockets were there. He could have taken them. He could have taken all the evidence. Not one policeman in the entire police station. I think it's a place called Assem. I think it's ASSEM in South Africa, and it's just absolutely incredible. What a dereliction of duty that is.
Yeah. I think that, I think in one way, the police has always had a sense of being proud of what they do. And
Yeah.
I think it's been taken away. I think you can't be proud, to stand and watch something happen. And actually it's your duty to act.
Yeah.
But somebody up there binding your hands.
Do you think Marikana
And that's
was
a problem.
Do you think Marikana was the turning point with what happened there? The mine?
Definitely, Scott. Definitely. I don't have proof, but I've been told that the order of police is, because of Marikana, not to use live ammunition anymore.
Right. Well, they don't have
And
ammunition.
you will see police officers in Johannesburg the other day. There was one in one of the buses of the police
Yeah.
who was bleeding, and he had
Yeah, I
a
saw
gash in
that.
his head.
Yeah.
A rock being thrown at him.
Yeah.
Now that poor guy, he could have defended himself with live ammunition.
Mm.
If somebody throws a rock or a stone or a half brick or even a full brick at me,
Yeah.
my life is in danger. Die there. He was actually lucky to still be alive. And that guy went home and he's most probably to his wife, what are we doing here? We're not stopping this. We're getting hurt.
Yeah.
You almost lost your husband, your dad today. Should I continue? And what happens? Most of them just give their badges in and walks. And then they go to private security firm, where it is a lot safer to work. But I feel for the police. I feel sorry for them. And they must stop this. Sorry, I'm going on and on about this.
No, it's good that you do.
Yeah, no, you're right, Willie. You're right. My neighbor is an ex-policeman. He was an ex-colonel in the police force. He's boarded, and he told me a lot of things today about the police force. There is so many corruption in the police force. It's just not true.
Yeah, that's very sad. Very, very sad. Now, I have a question for Willie. Okay. Does Willie have direct contact with Ernst Rutz, and does AfriForum support USAC and Zeitland?
Okay. I'm not sure about Zeitland. I'm not connected with Zeitland. I know what they are trying to do, etc., etc. AfriForum, yes. I phoned Ernst Rutz previously. I did speak to him about Project Survivor, and AfriForum is not supporting it. I don't know if this is the time to say this, but Ernst Rutz, and I really tried to get him on board. I sent him the videos. I sent him all the information about Project Survivor. And he's not interested. And the sole reason is it's not a project by AfriForum. So there's the news. That's true. I've got the WhatsApp to prove it. AfriForum is not on board, and it's sad. I know their members are on board, but they are not, unfortunately.
Well, I have to tell you, you've had more luck than I have. I've had people in South Africa who've tried to contact Ernst Rutz and Carrie Kiel, and they've never ever returned the calls.
They're not interested. But that's a video for another time, Scott.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Now, are there any other questions people would like to ask of Willie or Leslie? Just far away in the side chat here. Now, Leslie, do you carry plastic products, don't you, from the Eastern Cape down to Cape Town?
Yes.
Now, what's the use of where are they used?
It's like different colors of refuse bags.
Okay.
And Willie bins, Willie bins.
Yeah.
Any type of plastic products I transport.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a situation here where if you can't transport that product into Cape Town, then people don't have refuse bags. What are they going to do with their rubbish?
Yeah, look, I don't know, because also we supply a lot of hospitals, private hospitals.
Yeah.
There's also a certain type of plastic bag that the hospitals needed for the used injection needles and syringes to throw the garbage away, put it in bags. So if we can't get there, they're going to need the bags. I don't know what they're going to do.
Right.
So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, and it impacts everyone. That's the bottom line, is that everybody watching this show right now in South Africa is going to be impacted one way or the other with this trucking issue. And, if it lasts for more than a few days, it's going to be chaos in South Africa.
And people think it's a joke to be on the road. It's expensive to keep trucks on the road. If a truck stands for a day, you lose thousands.
Yeah. Now, we got another question here, and that is, let me just find it, there's so many messages coming through. Do you see America turning into the next South Africa?
Is the question, do you see America turning into the next South Africa?
Yes.
Scott, I'm not sure. What I can say is things in America work. Government does its job in trying to protect the people. I know President Trump is trying to do the correct thing, and he's being called a racist for it, which is totally unfounded. I mean, I've spoken to somebody the other day. All these people want these international immigrants to come to their country of another maybe nationality or whatever you can call it. And, they want them there. But America is a country for the Americans that's there at this present moment. Now, these liberal people, I'm sure they own houses, and they own a house, and their, family is living in the house. Why don't they get somebody, taken into their house to live with them? Somebody from Syria or wherever, or Nigeria, or wherever.
Yeah.
Why don't they do that? And the simple reason is, and they will argue, but this is my house. So what's the difference with America? It's America. This is my America. That's what I would say. Okay. So I don't think so, but they must fight it. It can happen. It can happen overnight. I know Europe has got a big problem, a big issue and big problem. Yeah, and they are sorry. Actually, they're starting to feel sorry for themselves for allowing their open border policy.
Yeah. Well, we know where that starts. Now, I've got another message here, and I think it's aimed at both of you. Cobhouse says, will the trucking situation have an effect on truck license tests? I'm doing mine tomorrow, and I'm rather concerned.
I don't know.
I also don't know.
So the best thing that he can do is just...
Sorry, Len, continue.
Yeah, the best thing he can do is just make the phone call and see if they're still going to be doing it.
Yes.
Look, if it's my truck and I had good insurance, maybe
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Now,
But there's also sounds going off about insurance companies. They must cut their losses. I don't know for how long they will still insure trucks for being burnt, etc., etc. And they've got the decision to stop this, to stop the insurance on trucks. They can decide tomorrow and say, listen, not going to be insured anymore for public violence, etc., etc., and burning of your truck. We won't pay out.
Yeah. Now
It's a possibility.
I've got an important question here for you, Willie. People want to make donations to Project Survivor. How do they do that?
Okay, Scott. I've said this from the beginning. I know there is people that want to make donations. I've refused. I've got my reasons for that. I've never taken a cent and I've never asked for money. Most probably through Patriot for Minorities in South Africa, we can maybe arrange something. I know that Tammy has spent a lot of her own money to get this TV station up and running, and to get. She's employed people basically to help with these videos and to go through everyone and pick the correct ones, etc., etc.
Right.
So maybe it's not a bad idea, but I don't think now. I think I'm so glad people are offering this. Thank you, but not now. Just hold your horses. I'll get back to you on that through somebody else. I don't want to do it with myself. I don't want to get involved with donations. I don't want it.
Well, I'm just going to put down Patrick's PayPal details on there because we certainly do need donations for the food drop that we're going to be doing a couple of weeks' time. So if you are able to, please, if you can just put in there Loving Life as your referral. Okay, so let's move back on to the trucking industry. Where is the future of trucking if things totally come unstuck? I'm going to ask this of Leslie first. What do you see happening?
Well, if there's no trucks, people will die of hunger in South Africa. Trucks plays a very, very important role in South Africa by transporting goods to shops and stuff.
Yeah. Really? Look, I'll be back in a second, guys, so I'm going to leave you to talk, okay? Carry on, Willie.
Yeah, it's a total disaster, Scott. That's all I can say. I mean, it will be a total disaster, destroying each and every one in South Africa. Definitely. And that's why I'm saying that, I think the government realizes the seriousness of this, because they did try with their media statement on Saturday to make things better and safer, etc. But I don't think obviously it's not going to work. I don't see it working. And government needs to step up. They must call in the police, and as I said, gloves. That's the only way. The police's gloves must be taken off. They must be very strict, and they must be very strict with this, and they must stop this before it runs chaos. That's what I say.
Now, I'm just going to ask one more time. Are there any further questions for the panel I've got here regarding trucking? Because what I'm going to be doing very shortly is getting Anthony online, and we'll be saying goodbye to Leslie. I know you've been wanting to meet Anthony, Willie, so he's an old fart like me. So
that's fine.
Let's just see if there are any questions. No. Okay. Now, Leslie, is there anything you would like to just say to those watching? There are about 500 people watching at the moment.
All I can say to the people, I hope you people got enough water and food in your houses, and be safe for the following week, because it's going to be chaos, I think. And thank you for Scott for this program, and thank you, Willie, for what you're doing.
Pleasure.
Great. Okay, I'm going to get. Let me just see if Anthony's on. We'll just keep you on there for a moment, Leslie. I'm just going to see if I can get hold of Anthony because it's 5:15 in the morning. Yes, he's on. Okay, so we'll say goodbye to you now, Leslie, and I'll get hold of Anthony.
Goodbye.
Okay, take care.
Cheers,
and thank you so much for being part of the discussion.
It's a pleasure.
Bye-bye, Leslie.
Bye-bye. Cheers, bye-bye.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, bye-bye. Cheers.
Bye, Leslie.
Bye-bye. Cheers, bye-bye.
Anthony, how are you?
Hello. Good morning.
Now, Leslie, can you just sign out? Just hit the little red phone just to log out.
How are you? Good morning. Good morning.
Leslie, can you just... Okay, now, we're just waiting for Anthony to come on. I can see him here. Actually, what I might do is I might just restart the session because it looks like we got a breakdown here. Okay, let me just try this again. Okay, it looks like we're locked out here. Not getting the little hand. Give me a second, guys. I'm just trying to sort out this little technical issue. Okay. Yeah, my Skype is not responding. All right, guys. Look, we've had a good discussion. I apologize about the Anthony situation, but it's the internet, so you know what happens. I'll get Anthony on another day, I think, and we'll have a discussion with him and Willie then. But I hope this discussion regarding trucking has been of interest to you and been useful. I have warned people to prep, and prepping is such an important part of things in South Africa today. Alrighty, I'm going to wrap it up there. Have a great evening, and please be safe, guys. Thank you, Jarko. Okay, cheers, guys. I'm going to log out now. Bye for now.